What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 14. It's 1 4 of Bull Chat with Randy Paddock. So 14 episodes in, pretty cool. So hopefully everyone's liking everything. If you are, do me a favor. We are available on iTunes and on Podium for the Straight Up Podcast. So please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. All that stuff really helps. Ratings. Also, I got trying out some new software, so a better picture. So you can check me out on YouTube and Youre out on YouTube. The channel's Bull Chat Pod. So also, any comments, thumbs up, shares, all that stuff helps to grow it. So all that love's appreciated. Thank you very much. Also, you can follow me on all my social media, Randy J. Paddock on Instagram, Randy Paddock on Twitter, and we got the Bull Chat fan page on Facebook. So please like that as well and share some love on there. Just really trying to get this thing going. So what I wanted to talk about today a little bit in this episode. So just kind of a little bit about some things that have been going on in my life. And then I did on episode 9, I believe it is, I did a whole kind of book overview of Discipline Equals Freedom, Field Manuel by Jocko Willink, which is a phenomenal book that I think everyone should pick up and everyone should read multiple times. I myself have read it multiple times, and I kind of read excerpts from it every day. And that's the cool thing about it, is it's not just like a linear novel through progression, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of pick what you need for that day, for that week, for that month, for that moment, whatever, and it's easy read, and it's great lessons, and it's a great mentality. So I went over, this chapter before on there, but I want to go a little bit more in depth just because of some things that have been going on in life a little bit, and I know everyone kind of always goes through things, everyone goes through the same stuff on this experiment, right? That is human life, right? And the human experience. So I think this is just good. It's been helping me, and I think it might help you guys a little bit. So I decided that we'll go over it. So please leave comments what you think about it. So what I want to talk about is what he talks about is good. That's just what it's called, good in that response. But before that, I kind of want to talk about what made me want to go into this stuff, and that is a little bit about what's been going on in my life a little bit. So there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life as of late. So if you listen to the last podcast, which was the Change Up podcast on episode 13, I was talking about how I just made a pretty big change in terms of my professional life, in terms of my career, switching jobs, which is something that a lot of people deal with, or a lot of people might even want to do or be afraid to do, because it could be challenging, it could be scary, but the process worked out actually awesome for me. I've been loving my new spot and what I'm doing, and I didn't have to go through a process of not working that much, and I think all that was just because my mentality going into it, I had a clear mission, and I executed it, and I had an open mind, and I did the due diligence, and that all goes into what I'm talking about a lot of the time, is that life is scary, things come up, things are scary, but the more prepared you are, the more mindset, like the positive mindset you have and the mental attitude you have going into things, that's really going to determine and help you find opportunities. So this will have a little bit to do with that, but also some other stuff that's been going on, like some sad things have been going on. So my grandma passed away like 6 months ago now, which is crazy. It seems like it just happened, but it was like 6 months ago. Love you, Grandma T. Good old Geraldine's looking down, every day. And my family didn't take it that well. We've been lucky, at least on my mom's side. My dad's side, he was an only child, and both his parents had passed away, my grandma and my grandpa, a little while ago. But on my mom's side, I mean, a few people we've lost here and there, especially judging from the raw numbers that it's an Italian-Irish family, so there's a shit ton of people. But my grandma was a big hit. That was pretty devastating, for everybody. For me, my sister, my nephew, all my cousins, but especially for my aunts and uncles, and especially for my mom. And then the biggest one, obviously, my papa. And it was pretty scary there for a while. I guess you don't know. I mean, you always know how important people are, or what they mean, but once they're gone, it's kind of crazy to see like the impact that you might not even have known, So for example, well, I always knew my mom and all her brothers and sisters loved my grandma. I mean, that was a no-brainer. but just seeing that play out, but like what I saw too is my grandma and papa have been married for, I don't know, over 50 years, so a long time, and it'd be funny because you wouldn't know it by by going over there because they lived in different rooms for a really long time and they're just always yelling at each other and calling each other jackass and doing whatever. But after my grandma passed away, like it was crazy to see how devastated my papa was, and how much he truly did love her, and I guess he just had his way of showing it and she had her way of showing it. But it made me think, like that's a real thing, and it was kind of refreshing to see that in this day and age, like those relationships and that love still does exist. But back to the point, it was a big hit for the family. It still is on the day to day. You know what I mean? All of us are still dealing with it in our own ways. Still some deal in different ways than others, but we're all still grieving and in that. And that's going to continue. You know what I mean? Obviously, as after the first year as well, when someone extremely important passes away, the every that whole year, every event that happens, every holiday, every birthday, every whatever, it's the first time you've done it without them. So you always kind of remember, and the first things that happened after the fact, it was right, going into like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that stuff, was coming up shortly thereafter. And, it wasn't that easy, but, time by time, it's remembering the happy stuff, and the smiling and cheersing and having shots for grandma, and remembering that. So, 6 months later, we're starting to kind of get things going a little bit. And then, a couple days ago, boom, something happens again. And my Uncle John, who's, been in my life a majority of it, he's been with my Aunt Charmaine for, I don't know, over 20 years, probably, like, I don't know how much over, but a lot, like a long time, dating, married, I mean, my cousin Lexi's 19 and they were together long before that. So shit, I don't even know. But, he just, the other day, he passed away. He just, my aunt came home and he was, passed away sleeping in his bed, massive heart attack at 55 years old. So it's like, holy fuck, what is going on, and that, and my heart is so broken, for my aunt who just lost her mother and now lost her husband, two extremely important people in her life, and in a short amount of time. I'm like, I haven't even reached out to her, and I talk to her. I mean, we go to the service today, but I'm at like a loss of what to talk to her because I don't know what to say. And then what I don't know what to say even more is my little cousin Lexi, 19 years old, freshman in college, and she loses her dad, and she's, I'm not a young lady, but I know a lot of young ladies are, at least in my family, are kind of daddy's girls. Their dads cherish them and love them and treat them like princesses, and it's reciprocated. And I know that was the fact for them, and how devastating that can be, and the shit just don't stop. You know what I mean? And as you get older, the shit keeps piling on, and people kind of go and leave. And if you're not, I guess I don't want to say like mentally prepared for it, but if you don't have like a certain way of thinking about it, I think the drop back and the devastation can really fucking smash you, right? And I don't think that nothing or anything will ever take away pain from loss, but I think like focus can help alleviate some of it. So I'll get into that a little bit as well. And trust me, I don't want this to be like a super dark thing or whatever, but it's something that's been weighing on me and I've been thinking about, and this kind of helps me get through things. So I figured a lot of people go through a lot of shit, so this might help as well. So also too, I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience the other day, and this guy David Goggins on there. If you never heard of him, look him up, because he's like a super runner, or whatever they call, like super athlete, does these like 100 200 mile runs. He broke the world record for the amount of like pull-ups ever done. I don't even know what the hell it was. It's like a couple thousand or something in 24 hours or something. And he's a pretty inspirational guy. And the last Joe Rogan podcast I was listening to, he was just talking his story, man. And he's a from nothing crude dude. You know what I mean? He's fuck every other word. He's kind of dark. He comes from, a past of his dad was a pimp, and like violence, and then just being overweight, and then changing it up, and going through Navy SEAL stuff 3 times and being injured and having heart surgeries, and doing all these things. And it was so inspiring. And the message that, I mean, you should listen to it, but the message he was getting into is about like you can't be comfortable, right? Like you can't be civilized. You can't be comfortable, because once you are, that's when like shit starts slipping, and you're not really living life. And also that there's going to be struggle and it's going to be hard. And I think that kind of hit home with me, because I was thinking about just my family, and how like these back-to-back things and hardships, and we're not, like a random case. This happens to people and to families all the time. And like that's part of the human experience, is struggle, and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to want to accomplish things and hit goals and have dreams, and you're going to hit some, you're going to fall short on some, and you're going to have loving, great relationships, and those relationships are going to end sometimes, great, sometimes not so great. And people are going to come into your life, they're going to go from your life, and you're going to try things, you're going to fail, and all this stuff's going to happen with your time on earth, man. And like, if you want it to really be fulfilling, like, there's going to be a fucking struggle, and there's going to be hard stuff. So again, I think what I'm going to get into, it's like a mindset towards that can help, navigate getting through. So that was just kind of a thought process I had on that as well. And then, it's funny. I was hanging out with my buddy Bones yesterday. I went and grabbed a couple of beers with him, and him and I were just kind of talking about life and the human experience, and I think we forget that is like we're all humans, and we all are gonna have certain like thoughts, and we're gonna do certain things, and we're gonna make certain moves, and there's gonna be all this stuff, and we're all on these different paths. And sometimes people join us on these paths for the long run. Sometimes they do for the short run. Sometimes people are in and out. Sometimes we do great things. Sometimes we don't do great things and make bad choices. But like, that's life, and you got to pick up the fucking shovel and just build that path, because it's not going to be easy. The path's going to be rocky, but throughout that rocky path, like, there's so many great things and great times. And if you're not focusing on those things, it's tough. And sometimes, you know the silver lining, as shitty as it might sound, like when you're going through a lot of struggles or a lot of tough things, is like when it gets very dark, you can very much appreciate the light. And remember that there's a lot of light out there in the midst of all this fucked up shit that goes on. There is light. And back to kind of my grandma, you know what I mean? I remember like shortly after she passed, my papa, like I said, he took it crazy rough, obviously. But I remember he was like sitting out on his deck, and my mom showed me he had like there's like these like random birds or something. I don't remember what kind of birds they were, but like there was like one sitting on like his porch, and then this other one, he came and like sat down next to it. And my papa, who's 80, like 5 or 4, something like somewhere in there, like had the presence of mind. He like whipped out he's got like a burner phone. You know what I mean? He doesn't even have like a real phone. He's got like a burner, and he pulled it out and he snapped a photo with that picture, took a picture of it, and that was he noticed the light in the darkness of that was him and my grandma, you know what I mean? And it was something that was kind of cool, and so just saying that, thinking, like, even though there's going to be that those bumps along the way and those tough things, like that stuff, it's going to hurt, and sometimes it might hurt forever, and the hurt will get smaller, but it will help you appreciate the light. So kind of going off that note, I wanted to get into the book a little bit and read this part. So I was just going to read it out of the book, because I can paraphrase all I want, but I think, Jocko wrote it. It's Jocko's idea, so he says it best. So again, the book is Discipline Equals Freedom, a Field Manual by Jocko Willink. And this is just the idea of good, so I'm going to read it. And this is my first time reading something on here, so hopefully I don't sound like an idiot and fuck up reading, because I'm 33 years old. I've been reading for a long time, so I should be able to get through. So, to the book. Good. How do I deal with setbacks, failures, delays, defeats, or other disasters? I actually have a fairly simple way of dealing with these situations, summed up in one word: good. This is something that one of my direct subordinates, one of the guys who worked for me, a guy who became one of my best friends, pointed out. he would pull me aside with some major problem or some issue that was going on, and he'd say, "Boss, we've got this thing, this situation, and it's going terribly wrong." I would look at him and I'd say, "Good." And finally, one day, he was telling me about something that was going off the rails, and as soon as he finished explaining it to me, he said, "I already know what you're going to say." And I asked, "What am I going to say?" And he said, "You're going to say good." He continued, "That's what you always say. When something is wrong or going bad, you just look at me and say good." And I said, "Well, I mean it, because that is how I operate." So I explained to him that when things are going bad, there's going to be some good that will come from it. So that's the first part before I kind of get in the breakdowns. And I think that's the hardest part to trick in the in the brain, is that when when things are going bad, we're focusing on the bad. And like I kind of alluded to earlier, there was like I was saying like something like silver lining, right? But when things are bad and our emotions are kicking in, we're going to focus on the bad, but there is good that comes from everything bad. I mean, if you think of the most evil things or the worst things that have ever happened on the planet, like there's some good out of it, right? So something that just pops in my head, you know, right off the bat is like 9/11, right? Which is fucking terrible and the worst thing that's ever happened in America on American land, you know what I mean? And it's like how can you find some good in it? But I remember like right after that, just like everybody being kind of cool with everybody, and like everyone like kind of unifying under the flag and the country and being together. Everyone was nice, and it was kind of reminded us that we are all humans together, and we're all part of one tribe, and especially in America, we're all part of America together. It didn't matter white, black, yellow, brown, orange, green, purple. It didn't matter rich, poor, $2, $6, $1,000,000. Didn't matter male, female, fucking cisgender, whatever you are. Like we were one, and that's what it's about. I mean, again, these things unfortunately might not always last forever, but it reminds you that there is the good in that, and then great things that could come out of that. you know so it's tough though, because especially when things are going bad, there's going to be emotion, and we're going to focus on the bad, but also try to remember, like, we own our mind, we own our emotions, like we are in control, and we can make that choice. It might be an extremely hard choice, but we can make that choice to figure out what we're going to focus on, and if we want to focus on the bad things or the good things. So we'll kind of go back to the book, and he'll hit up on some of these things. So, oh, mission got canceled. Good. We can focus on another. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted. Good. We can keep it simple. Didn't get promoted. Good. More time to get better. Didn't get funded. Good. We own more of the company. Didn't get the job you wanted. Good. Go out, gain more experience, and build a better resume. Got injured. Good. Need a break from training. Got tapped out. Good. It's better to tap out in training than tap out in the street. Got beat. Good. We learned. Unexpected problems. Good. We have the opportunity to figure out the solution. So I think, just even that part, it's like with all these bad situations, you can always find a good thing, and that's something that I've struggled with, forever. Like, something bad happens, you get your heart broken, or not me so much, but people, like, get your heart broken, or you do something bad at work, lose a business, or do bad things with money, do something, like, it's tough to figure it out, but if you figure out good, so one of the things for me that was like, when my business went down the shitter, before I came back to Chicago, like I was focused on everything except me. You know what I mean? And obviously, I was the common denominator. It was my business, right? So once I finally accepted and started looking at the good, like I could say good. It was very humbling. I was like, good. I got humbled because I was kind of a cocky asshole and thinking I knew everything. Good gives me a chance to learn more and get better and figure out how to do things right. Good, I could see all the things I was doing wrong and know what to do. And all these things compiled has made me better in my leadership. It's made me better. It made me better at work. It made me better in wanting to pursue my dreams and knowing that I'm going to be successful in anything that I do, for the fact that I know the right things to do. I am not scared to put in the work. Nothing is that big of a deal. I've been humbled. I'm going to stay humble. Like, shit, as long as you're breathing, it can go, you can change it. It ain't too late, So once you can start kind of training your mind on that, you get more positive outlook on bad situations. So we'll go back to the book. That's it. When things are going bad, don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated. No, just look at the issue and say good. Now, I don't mean to say something trite. I'm not trying to sound like Mr. Smiley positive guy. That ignores the hard truth. That guy thinks a positive attitude will solve problems. It won't. And I think that's kind of a good point, because I think that all the times too. Like, and it's funny because there's like a dichotomy with me, because I'm very much, I like the law of attraction and positive vibes and good vibes. I'm a firm believer in that, but I'm also a firm believer in, like, you can't just think about good shit all the time and good shit will happen. You got to be proactive about it. You got to get after it. You got to make it happen. But also sometimes you can think all the good stuff you want to be as positive you want, and shit's gonna happen anyways. Um, so back to the book. So positive attitude will solve problems. It won't, but neither will dwelling on the problem. No, accept reality, but focus on the solution. Take that issue, take that setback, take that problem, and turn it into something good. Go forward. And if you're a part of a team, that attitude will spread throughout. I think that's true. Is like, just, I kind of said before, I hate that saying, like, it is what it is. And true, I'm not really a big fan of that saying, but also sometimes it is what it is, right? Like, when things happen and the reality strikes and sets in, like, and you get to focus on stuff you can control. What you can't control, you just have to accept. What you can do is focus on what you can control. All right, so, like, and then you figure out the solution. You focus being solution oriented. That problem's there. That problem's not going anywhere. That problem's not going to change, and you can't control it. So why dwell on it? Why focus your energy on it? Because you're just going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to get fucking mad. You're going to get bummed out. You're going to get sad. All these emotions that are bad. Whereas if you kind of detach from it, accept it as is what it is, and focus on the solution, you can start the progress over perfection. That's a phenomenal habit, and that's going to help you to start focusing on getting better, getting more positive, getting after it, than dwelling. And you're moving forward, and you're going to be feeling better. And then if you're in a leadership position, people seeing that, it's contagious. They're going to follow suit, right? It's like, I always talk about, like, leadership is like when you're a kid. Remember when you're a kid and you run around, you fall down and you skin your knee or whatever. Like, usually if you see blood, you start crying, right, when you're a kid. But the most thing you do is you look up and you look at your parents, and how they react is really going to determine how you react, right? So if you look up and your parents are like, oh my god, like crying and shit, you're gonna fucking freak out, right? But if you look up and your parents are like, you're good, buddy, come on, you're good, you can have a fucking spike sticking out of your head. You're like, yeah, I'm good. All right, cool, right? And that's what leadership is accepting what it is, focusing on the reality of the situation, and what can we do to move forward, and what can we do to find a solution. Um, and then, so we'll get back to the book. Um, And if you're part of a team, that attitude will spread throughout. So finally, if you can say the word good, then guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, that means you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack. And I think that's remembering it too, is like, if you can say it, that means you're still alive during these tough times. It means that it's not too late. It's been kind of like a recurring thing I've been talking about. So I've been talking about Scrooge being my favorite Christmas movie, but it's a fact. If you can say those things, you're still in the fight. You haven't given up yet. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. If you haven't given up, if you're still in the fight, there's always a chance. You can get back after. Again, you might be set back. You might be delayed. Things might go on, but you're still there. You're still on the planet. You're still in the game, and nothing's too late while you're in the game. So I think that's something good to remember. So I kind of wanted to correlate this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this or not, because again, I didn't want to be too heavy. This isn't going to be one of those podcasts that, like, get bummed out. I hope not. I try to be a funny guy, and try to have a good time, and give things to talk about, tips that help and stories that make people laugh and feel good and feel positive. But I think this will help too. So he's kind of this going into death, and like I said, just because unfortunately it's been happening in my family a lot, and I've been thinking about it a lot, and how it goes with good. So back to the book. But how does good apply to the worst of losses, the death of a loved one? It is easy to think that there is nothing good in death, but I remember the people I have lost throughout my life, the memories of them, the experiences, the fun, their unique personalities, in everything they gave me, not only in their life, but in their death. What their life taught me and what their death taught me. The mark they left on me. And I realized there is good. Even in death, there is good. First of all, I was lucky to have had that person in my life. Even if it was only for a short time. Too short of a time. At least I got that. Those precious moments. Those unforgettable memories. At least I got those and got to experience those times to know the beauty of their personality, their attitude, their outlook on the world. They were all unique, and I am thankful for the opportunity I had to interact with them. Now comes death. Death is a horrible, and death is wretched, and death is cruel, and death isn't fair. And I don't know why the best people seem to be taken from us first. Death is also inescapable. There is no way out. No one gets out alive. Death is part of life, like the contrast between the darkness and the light. Without death, there is no life. And people that I have lost, they taught me that. They taught me how precious life is, how blessed we are to have every day, to learn, to grow, to laugh, to live. To live. To live every day with purpose and passion. To wake up in the morning and be thankful. Thankful for that morning. Thankful for that opportunity to go into the world and live. Live for them. For those who don't have the opportunity, for those who were stolen away by death's cruel hand, for them, I will live. I will revere their memory and I will live. So let us cry no more, let us mourn no more, let us remember, but let us not dwell. Instead, let us laugh and love, and let us embrace and venerate everything that life has every opportunity to give us. Let us live for those who live no more. Let us live to honor them, and I think that's a good outlook. And I think it's a tough outlook, and I think there obviously is a time for mourning and being sad, absolutely, but it goes into we had time, we had memories, we had that, and I think about it, I think about it a lot with my grandpa before he passed away. He was a great man, and he's very much a role model for me, and he influenced my father a lot, who's a big role model for me as well, and just his way of being a man and being a provider and coming through. And my grandpa like hooked me up, right? So when I was young, he invested all these bonds and stuff. So I had this college fund when I was in college. And those of you guys who knew me back in college or listen to this podcast and maybe hear some of my stories know that I was a fuck up, in college and in my 20s, and especially when I was down at ISU. The first, semester I was down at ISU, or year maybe even, like I wasn't at ISU, I was at Heartland, right, community college, and all I was doing, I had a fake ID, so I was going out and getting fucked up every night with my boys, because all my friends were down there, and then we smoked a bunch of weed, right, like I wasn't doing anything productive, I was smoking bongs, chasing girls, getting hammered drunk, right, so while I was doing this, I was paying money, I was paying rent, I wasn't working, I was paying for school, and all this was on my grandfather's dime, and I was just being like kind of a selfish fuckface, and then after a while, I finally got my shit together, and then I ran out of money, and then when I had to go home, and I had to, get a job working in a warehouse and doing all this, when I went back to school, I knew it wasn't fuck around time anymore. I had to get shit done. But also what was helping me, with the shit was that my grandfather was old, and he was getting sick. And then I got a fire lit under my ass, like, oh my God, if he passes away before seeing me graduate, like, I'm the biggest asshole on the planet because he hooked me up for me to have a better life, for me to have an education. I fucked it off in Bloomington Normal, smoking bongs and shotgunning beers. And that scared the shit out of me. So I got after it. And school, and I finished at Northeastern with, Dean's List. Every semester I was there, and I luckily enough finished, did that, got to graduate before he passed away. But it taught me, about that, that I kind of learned that lesson there before, I saw it here. And that was like, people like live with a purpose, right? Like we're here when other people aren't, and like we gotta, what's he say for here, like live for those who don't have the opportunity, for those who were stolen away. Like if we're not doing things, if we're not getting better, if we're not chasing dreams, if we're not progressing, if we're not doing these things, like we're kind of slapping in the face all the people that can't, and then I got to thinking even more, and I'm sorry to bum you out, but I'm 33 years old. I started thinking about the hit list of all my friends and people I knew or grew up with that died. And I was like counting on my hands, and it's like, I don't know, it's more than 10. You know what I mean? And of people personal, like not family, just like friends or people I went to school with, it's probably pushing more towards like 15 or 20, and I'm at 33 years old. That's fucking crazy. That's a lot of people that died way too fucking young. And I didn't. So what the fuck? I gotta get after it, right? And it took me a very long time to get this. And I'm 33. I think at 28 is when I started putting it together because I for so long was not doing that. I was just floating by, sitting at cover two, sleeping in the fucking booths, blacking out drunk, getting in fights, burning bridges, being an asshole, sleep, pass out, black out, rinse, wash, repeat. That wasn't living, man. It was slapping all these people in the face, that passed away young, and I didn't even think about it like that. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with partying, cutting loose, having fun, but have a fucking purpose. Do something. Because there's people out there that can't, and there's people out there that might have set your table. Don't fuck it up, and that's what it's about. That's what good is. And knowing like, hey, it might be tough. It might be this road that's tough. I'm gonna go through ups and downs and all arounds. But if I can say good and I can embrace it, I'm still here. I'm still in the fight, and I can still live for these people, and I can still go. And then when these hard things happen, remember all the good things that happen. This too shall pass, right? Is that something they say? If something bad happens and people pass away, remember all the great times that's what I've been doing with my grandma. Like I got a picture, one of my favorite pictures of her and I hanging out in my fridge. I see it every day. I got her in like a headlock. I'm smooching her, and I used to do that with my grandma like all the time, and not even thinking about it. It's funny how you kind of create things. You know how it is when like people like take pictures, and you have like the duck face or like the side piece, or like you kind of fall in like your habit in certain pictures or something. Some people give like the fist or like flex or fucking shaka bra or rock on or love you or whatever. Like that was the thing I guess I fell into with my grandma. I would just always give her headlocks and kisses on the cheeks. I loved her so much. Maybe that was just my way of showing it, and I see that every day, and I think about all the good times, and I think about just her life and going to her house, and the funny shit she used to say, and her calling me on my birthday, all the time, being the first one to call me, and all that stuff. And it makes me feel glad inside. It makes me feel happy. And that's what I remember. I don't remember fucking piece of shit cancer killing her. Fuck that. Why? That's just something that happened. That was something we couldn't control. So why do I remember that? What I can control is all the awesome memories and all the awesome shit day by fucking day. And what I can do is I can make her proud. Now I gotta make her proud. I know she's looking down on me. I just gotta get after it. I'm doing things like this. I'm trying to inspire people. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to make the best of me. I'm trying to build my mind. I'm trying to build my body. I'm trying to build my leadership. I'm trying to build all these things because I want to leave a fucking mark because there's people that believed in me. There's people who gave a shit about me. There's people like my grandma, like my grandpa that believed in me. There's people that are still on this planet, like my dad, like my friends, like my mom, like my sister, like my nephew that are looking at me, that are proud of me, that are believing in me. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to add more. I got to do more. I got to do more. And that's what that's about. That's fucking good. That's good. And I hope it's tough. And I want it to be tough because I'm building something better. I'm building something bigger. And that's what we all got to do. That's the human experience, my man. Like, that's it. Good. Let it be tough. Let's be better. Let's all fucking be better. Let's go. Right? Let's do it for the people that aren't here. Let's do it for the people that are here. Let's do it for us. Let's do it for everybody. But let's go. Let's just not sit by and do nothing. Let's progress. Let's build. You build or destroy, man. What do you want to be? I want it to be tough. Good. Let's look at the positive. Let's look at what we're learning. Let's look at what's making us better. So every time there's a setback, every time there's a failure, it's not a failure. It's not something tough. What it is making us better. It's another weapon I'm putting in my arsenal. Good. This failed. Now I know this. Now I'm going to add it to this. Now here we go. Don't let yourself get beat up by the world, by the hard times. Accept that this shit's going to happen. And do what you can to control what you can. Everything else, forget about it. And what you can control, fucking bring it on. Good. I want it. And then smile. Right? Smile at people. Be cool to people. Be kind. People that you love, tell them you love them. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. Right? Let people in traffic. Don't be a dick. Right? Do a random act of kindness. This stuff all goes hand in hand, and it makes this world awesome, and that's what we're trying to do. We're all on it together. How many fucking times I gotta say it, right? We're all on this rock together, spinning around. Why not have a great time doing it? Why not all be better versions of ourselves? Why not be awesome? And why not just have a great time? Be cordial. Know that we're all getting by together, you know? Give the people you love a hug and a smooch and a big kiss like this boy here. But do it, man. So remember, it's going to be tough, but everything tough is good. You want it to. Next time you have that setback, that failure, things going wrong, say good. Figure out what you learn. Focus on what you can control and know you're still fucking alive and you're still in the game, and giddy up. Cool? So that's all I got for today, man. Y'all have a good one. We'll put this one in the books. Peace.